What's going on, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages? Welcome to today's bonus installment of Renegades Reviews. I am the Renegade J.J. Williams, here to bring you my thoughts on yet another horror documentary. Today I've already spoken to you about Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and Abbott and Costello Meet the Monsters. Well, the Dracula collection also provides a very nice 90-minute documentary on the Universal horror monsters. So I thought I would watch that and give you my thoughts on that too, very briefly. This movie, if you can call it that, pretty much takes us through the glory days of the horror genre at Universal. It's a documentary that examines the early days of horror films, particularly those crafted at Universal during the 30s. We do briefly touch on the 20s and the Chaney Sr. era with Phantom and Hunchback, as well as the German unauthorized version of Dracula, Nosferatu. We then spend the majority of our time in the 30s, and then to end it, we briefly touch on the 40s with the Wolfman and the Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein. This documentary was narrated by Kenneth Branagh. It also features interviews with Ray Bradbury, Carla Laemmle, Sarah Karloff, the daughter of Boris Karloff, Fay Wray, Lupita Tovar, who played the female lead in the Spanish version of Dracula, Turin Bay, Kurt Siedmack, who was responsible for The Wolfman and Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Really well put together documentary. Like I said, spans the entire history of the Universal horror. Even talks a little about King Kong, which was an RKO release, but of course now part of the Universal franchise. King Kong, part of the Universal Studios tour for many years, until the original part of the tour was burnt in the fire a few years ago. Universal, of course, re-released it recently with Jack Black, did a reboot of it. And now you've got the new King Kong portion of the studio tour. But it's a very well put together documentary that I recommend for any film historian, film buff like myself, who has grown up, likes, and respects the classic Universal monsters. That's going to do it for the Universal Monsters portion of The Road to Halloween. I promise that this time. Tomorrow, as I said at the end of Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, we're going to take a small trip to a quiet street called Elm Street, where a former janitor named Freddy Krueger rules our nightmares. And we are going to begin that saga. So until tomorrow here on the Casa D18 Studios channel, I am the Renegade J.J. Williams, and I will talk to you tomorrow with The Nightmare on Elm Street.